Before a time where every single cult classic was turned into a musical, Little Shop of Horrors was an master of on-the-cheap horror and a mentor to the new Hollywood. Roger Corman made the original Little Shop of Horrors in 1960 because he had access to the sets left over from his 1959 horror comedy, A Bucket of Blood, and had just 2 days to film a project before the sets were torn down. Stories about man-eating plants weren't new. The John Collier story, Green Thoughts, and Arthur C. Clarke's The Reluctant Orchid were two literary attempts at a man-eating plant story. Shot in 2 days using stock actors that Corman utilized on other projects, including a young Jack Nicholson. It was the last film Roger Corman was able to shoot in his B-movie style before the rules changed about paying actors residuals.
The patient came to me with a large hole in his abdomen, caused by a fire poker used on him by his wife. He almost bled to death and gangrene had set in. I didn't give him much of a chance. There were other complications. The man had cancer, tuberculosis, leprosy, and a touch of the grip.
It cost only $30,000 to shoot, according to Corman, was written quickly by him and Charles B. Griffith. Released as a double feature, often with Mario Bava's Black Sunday, it became a cult classic.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
In 1982, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman created the off-Broadway musical, Little Shop of Horrors, loosely based on Roger Corman's movie. It ended up running for 5 years, closing on November 1st, 1987, the third longest-running musical at the time, and the highest-grossing off-Broadway musical.
Never before in the history of the American stage have you seen such high drama.
You don't meet nice boys when you live on Skid Row, Mr. Bushnick.
Suspense.
Little red dots all over the floor.
And romance. It's bone-chilling. It's spine-tingling. It's a musical. It's...
David Geffen, who had produced the off-Broadway show, produced the 1986 movie. Originally, it would have been a Martin Scorsese movie, with Steven Spielberg producing, which sounds weird until you remember that Scorsese was from the Roger Corman School of Filmmaking, one of the many film directors of the new Hollywood who learned from him. But Charles B. Griffith sued, and Scorsese and Spielberg dropped out. David Geffen then recruited Frank Oz, who was working on Muppets Take Manhattan at the time. Frank Oz reworked the musical script, tightened it up, and got it away from being a stage show. The cast is incredible. Rick Moranis plays Seymour Krelborn. Ellen Greene reprised her role from the stage show, where she had been discovered as Audrey. Vincent Gardenia as Mr. Mushnick. Levi Stubbs of the Four Tops as the voice of Audrey II, a giant puppet with a whole team of puppeteers, including Brian Henson. Tashina Arnold, Michelle Weeks, and Tisha Campbell as the girls who provide the backup on many of the songs. And a crazy list of cameos. Steve Martin as Orange Scrivello DDS. Bill Murray playing the Jack Nicholson dentist patient who likes pain role. Jim Belushi, Christopher Guest, John Candy, Mariam Margoyles. Jim Henson's daughter, Heather Henson, also makes an appearance. The original ending from the Corman film and stage play, where Seymour and Audrey get eaten by the plant, leading to Audrey II taking over the world, toppling buildings, fighting the U.S. Army, and then breaking out of the screen, was eventually scrapped. It would have cost an additional $5 million to complete it. On a $25 million budget, Little Shop of Horrors brought in $54 million. Panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, in which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are two more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. Conan Neutron is the host of Platonic Reversal, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. You can check out his music and hopefully buy some at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends' latest album, The Way of the Neutron, is available on Bandcamp. Order it today. Kristina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and a Twitch streamer. You can find her streaming at twitch.tv/Cosmopolitics. All of her social media accounts are also at Cosmopolitics. She's on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and even occasionally on Letterboxd. Lauren Chouinard is a writer and social media strategist who writes film reviews for Merry Go Round magazine, is on Letterboxd at Lonely Goat Herd. I, of course, your host of the strange and interesting planet who definitely doesn't eat blood, Forrest Miller. What? No, please, lady, put your clothes back on. What if your husband were to walk in? I'm right here, Forrest. I love movie night extravaganza, but I have to kill you both with this machine gun.
There you go.
Amazing.
I've been waiting to debut just that part for like a week.
That's good.
But konnichiwa, Conan. Come back. Welcome back to the great United States.
Why did you come back again?
I know. That's wasn't I asking myself that same question not that long ago? I was like, yeah, this.
It's Trump
You
time.
didn't die in a plane crash. Yay!
I did not die in a plane crash. No, that would have been a very sad end
You're
to that tour.
So I'm assuming your pilot was a wicked, pansexual, non-binary black dude who's definitely woke.
Yes, DEI hire pilot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
DEI or die.
I can't disprove any of those things, but I can't prove them either.
Well, ever since they took the woke away from the FAA, it seems like a lot more planes are crashing.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
You lucked out.
I did catch up on some cinema on the way back. I saw Hard Truths finally, which I'm a big Mike Lee fan.
Oh,
so that was
nice.
streaming on the airplane ride, and that was awesome.
Did you see Plane?
I did not see Plane. Plane. I did. I did see a couple other ones as well. Though it was a good time for movie watching because that's a long flight. That is a like 17 hours, something like that. Well, it's longer going out than coming back, but it's long, and you lose a day, and then you gain a day back through like the lamest form of time travel. You leave at 6 and you arrive at noon the same day, which is like what? But
International Dateline, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can hear about all that on the after party where I'll expound at detail with anything anybody wants to hear about from our Japanese tour, which was lovely.
I feel like they give the foreign travel. They give people way better movie choices than the domestic one.
So true.
I assure you 100% that they do. Like
this
by the way,
movie, perhaps.
Like the fact that I had to like go on an international flight to see that God-pounding Mike Lee movie like blows my mind. It's like it wasn't even ever like it was even playing in Milwaukee. They're like, why even bother? It's like, oh Jesus Christ. But yeah, very excited to come back for Little Shop of Horrors. A movie that I saw, I'm going to say probably charitably at least 24 times as a kid, but had not seen in a very long time. Still slaps, as they say.
I've probably seen it the same amount and then another 4 times this last week.
I've seen it. God knows.
Watching it again. Yeah.
I mean, as someone who discovered the musical at a very young age, I was so excited when I found out there was a movie about it because my first introduction to Little Shop of Horrors was the revival with Hunter Foster and Carrie Butler back in the early 2000s. Yeah. Because that cast album was all over the serious Broadway, radio shows and whatnot. And so, of course, here in the original cast album as well. So I was like, when I found out that Ellen Greene is in the same category as Yul Brynner, Rex Harrison, those people who have done the stage to screen. Very few people could do that, but Ellen Greene's that talented.
And back to the stage, too. She's played in that stage since then.
She's
basically...
Yeah. She went back and did it like not long ago.
She's de facto Audrey. Like, okay, so-and-so back in Ellen Greene back in. It'll be fine. She's 80. It'll be fine.
She just they just had her on SNL, right? They just had her at the 50th whatever, and they did like a parody. I'm pretty sure I saw this. They did like a parody of Suddenly Seymour at SNL or something. Yeah,
it's a crazy story though, and I'm glad you put in the intro for us because it's like there's the Corman movie first, which is cool. It doesn't hit on the same level, but then it's
creeped me out as a kid. I got so fucking scared.
Because I did the same thing. When I was like, it's based on another movie. I'll watch that now. And like I was like, probably saw that a little too young. But then I stopped and think about it. I probably saw this a little too young as well.
Yeah.
But it was that. Then it gets made into an off-Broadway musical, and then made into like a bigger budget movie incorporating elements of the musical. And then kind of becomes, achieves its own cult status liftoff from there and just kind of becomes like a weird part of pop culture esoteria and a very dark movie.
Yeah.
Extremely. It's very cool because, like, as everyone knows, I am a #theater kid. unabashedly. And I did Little Shop of Horrors last year. I played Crystal.
I remember
I played Crystal, and in order to make it not problematic, I played Crystal as Fran Drescher. So I was Lauren as Fran Drescher as Crystal, and that's how I was able to justify that. But it's really cool being like a horror fan and a musical theater fan and seeing it embraced by both sides, and seeing drag parodies of it and burlesque routines, and just like how it has just seeped into so many different like types of subcultures. Like, so my spouse does not like musicals, and I always was like, Little Shop of Horrors is the gateway drug. And when when I showed them this movie, they loved it. We just rewatched it this afternoon. They were cracking the fuck up. They love it, and I swear to God, it gave them a whole new appreciation for musical theater. Also, they have a fear of carnivorous plants. So that was really interesting.
Exercise that fear then.
I was like, oh, you hate musicals and plants? Oh, well.
Is this aversion therapy? What are we doing here?
I have a musical for you. That you will definitely like.
Don't show them the director's cut where the plant actually like breaks out after eating everybody. It's like
we do need to address that as more than just an aside. But let me just say that first of all, I think Little Shop of Horrors, and again, as someone that has been misdiagnosed as a musical hater, I absolutely love this one as well. This is one of
it's the songwriting too.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's like 4 or 5 musicals I really love. This is one of them, and one of the reasons why is the songs are so strong. They're so good. They're so well written. They're so well done.
Menken, man.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P.
And Levi has as Audrey II, but like, I mean, amazing. And by the way, that's the best role. That's absolutely the best.
100%. If I had to redo this show again, I would want to be the plant. Like,
you would,
I'm a huge Four Tops fan, so I was like, "Oh hell yeah, those pipes!"
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, I mean, he's that baritone. Yeah, I mean, and if you don't know Four Tops, I mean, Four Tops are amazing.
Reach out.
He passed like this is last fall, I think, right?
Yeah.
But like, I didn't know. I couldn't pick a Four Top song out of a lineup when I saw this as a kid. I was just like, "Oh, that plant's badass." To the point that I think I shared I want to say it's a Facebook video or something. My childhood best friend, Dave Hasbrook, who went to Jim Henson School, we were telling some stories about these movies that we used to make that loosely incorporated elements of basically all the stuff that we liked through our weird lens, including the phone that was the Audrey II like bank, like piggy bank, where you put the coin in the mouth and it would go like rah, and it would eat the coin. Amazing.
Cool.
Toys are like not nearly so cool now. I'm sorry. But like I had forgotten all about that because that was something where we were just so obsessed with like how great and how dark it was. And in a way that like Dark Crystal is kind of dark, but not like this it isn't. I mean, this is like the Faustian bargain.
Yeah. So true.
Writ large. If you think about it from the narrative of the story, and which is one of the reasons why the ending, the happy ending, does kind of hit a little weird. It's sort of like
it doesn't work for me at all. Like the original ending, while like extremely like over the top and gruesome, it's just Don't Feed the Plants is such an incredible song.
Why must everything have a happy ending?
Yeah.
And they spent like $5 million on the ending, which is insane.
Wasn't it like a fifth of the budget, right?
Yeah. So the movie cost $25 million. So $5 million of $25 million went to that ending, the original ending. And there's I guess I'll play it in the after party since I want to have as much Lauren time as possible and not just throw clips on. But I watched this thing where Frank Oz explains the entire ending, and he said that he had to call the miniatures guy. He had a guy on.
Can you imagine getting that call?
Like genuinely one of the most like amazing miniatures guys in the entire industry.
Hey man, we gotta cut this.
Well, so he had him. He had the puppeteers because there's 26 puppeteers working on the Audrey II puppet.
Yeah.
And he had to call everybody else and say, "Hey, we have to cut. Like, we've already shot it and we already premiered the movie, but the audience rejected that ending so much that like the studio is making us cut it."
Which is so strange because that's the way that it ends in the stage version.
Yeah.
You would think that people would be drawn to the thing that has been like the legacy part of it. But
I have a theory.
Yeah.
This took place in the 80s, the Reagan years, the Cold War. They wanted a
True.
happy ending. They didn't want probably some symbolism of Soviet domination bullshit,
Yeah.
probably.
That's
Yeah.
very
Well,
true.
I wonder also because like Lauren, you could definitely attest to this. The stage play, I believe at the time was the it might still be third highest grossing off Broadway musical because it wasn't on Broadway. It was just off.
Yeah.
So third highest grossing, and I think one of the longest running Broadway musicals.
It had such a long run. It was a crazy long run.
And it's still
So
happening because they had it on for a long time. Then they took it off. Then they brought it back, and it's still going on right now. I actually got to.
But
go see it
I wonder if
it was
so.
Cool.
The people who are watching this movie, right? We're going to this premiere and they're doing like a test, like a focus audience. I wonder if the ones who are really into the stage show are just like, well, I'll go see the stage show. I don't need to see the movie or something like that.
That's
and then
true.
they got an audience full of people that like some of them at least weren't. Yeah, pretty much. They weren't like theater people, and they were like, oh my god, they get eaten at the end.
Hasn't Audrey been through enough? Does she have to die?
Leave her alone.
And it's wild because it's like I think that you're both really onto something because we have seen like historically when you try and adapt like stage to screen, it like the theater fans never get what they want, and when they do, audiences don't quite like get it. And so there is that. So like to your theory, I'm sure that was a big part of it, but also kind of to Kristina's point, like this is a musical that is about exploitation and hyper consumerism, and it's against all of those things that were so promoted in it's a very political movie,
super political. Skid Row is like one of the first songs. You know,
so I could see like audiences being like, oh, this is not what we're all like buying into with this like this kind of Wall Street era. So it totally makes sense that they'd be like, too bleak, hate the message. You know?
we love commodification is bad, but I remember
we want the 50s back. We want the American dream.
I watched this when I was also like Conan, way too young. I would go to I would go up to Maine to my grandfather's house every summer, and I would go to the library, and they'd have like all these videos. I've said this before, that they'd have all these videos out of the library, and I'd buy whatever because my grandpa just had like a VHS, player, like it was like a nice one, but it was like, he didn't really have a DVD set up yet, really, that like worked downstairs. So I would go find random stuff, and I remember this is one of the random things I bought, and I was like 10 years old or something, and was given like $5 to go get videos at the the fair. So I put it in, and I remember this is the first time I ever really thought about like commodification of a like, and I was very young thinking about this, but like just like the fact that everything turns into a product. Like it can't just be something that you see in front of you that you're like, wow, this is really cool. This is a strange and interesting plant. It has to be like, okay, now how can we mass market this? How can we turn it into a media product? And then how can we get everybody their own Audrey too? And the ending,
Disney, like when you go to Disneyland and every ride ends with a gift shop, it's so that.
Well, exactly, and to present it in such an exaggerated, cartoonish way, but that's why it gets over. In that same way that, like, this is one of the first movies I saw that showed class distinction, and I'm not even kidding. And I was like, okay, and like that's coming from someone who grew up working poor too. That I was like, because you just didn't see that depicted in the 80s. Like,
I love when you like lure someone in with like song and dance, and then you make them a socialist at the end.
This is the musical for you. Not Les Miserables, but Little Shop of Horrors.
It's interesting that you can do that kind of with like an ethnic Jewish ghettoized like community, right? Because it's like, oh, these are people in the inner city in the ghetto that this is still like, this is the tail end of Jewish people that are very poor, that their families immigrated or whatever, living next to black people, living next to like all of these different things, and
taking on these like legacy family businesses. Probably Mushnick got his business from his dad and his dad and his dad.
Right.
Yeah, and completely hates it. And like I wish they had shot the Mushnick and Son song from the musical too, because
that's low-key my favorite song in the show.
Yeah, because it literally he like adopts Seymour, and I feel like you get so much more of that, like oh, this is someone that he just found at an orphanage and basically is using as serf labor, right? Like he's like
right, exactly, like, conscription.
He gives me toilets to clean and every other Sunday off.
Yeah, because I saw Little Shop of Horrors at a local theater production, and then a few years later we did it again that I was involved, which was a lot of fun. And I remember, talking about like the movie, and they're like, yeah, that ending is just, whatever. But it was funny talking about like, these hidden like messages. I'm like, a lot of people love this musical, and I think all the political, the working class elements just go over people's head, because I mean this takes place in the 60s. Because you have the names of all the backup, the Greek choir of girl groups of the 60s, right. Ronette, Crystal, like all those girls who are like, the Greek choir and all that. So it was interesting discussing like some of the undertones as I got older about like what the musical is really about. Like, yeah, it's about plants and all that, but like there's more to it than meets the eye. But people love the songs.
It's because it's trying to like escape from this sort of fait accompli of poverty and like not being able to achieve and do anything again, which brings the Faustian a bit of it.
And there's like a second kind of Faustian thing going on, which it's such a dark portrayal, which I mean is funny because it's Steve Martin, but it's such a dark portrayal of an abusive relationship.
Oh my god,
you know what I mean? Like Steve Martin is beating the fuck out of her and all these different, things as this like deeply sadistic person. And of course that transfers his way into work. And like, you get the humorous side of it, which is like, everyone thinks of their dentist as being sadistic.
No wonder I don't like the dentist. Seriously.
Guys,
But I
tell a dark story about this. So when I was coming home from rehearsal, when I was doing Little Shop last year, it was raining, it was dark, I was like trying to make a turn, and then this cop pulled me over because I was driving erratically because I couldn't see where I was going. He pulls me over and he's like, "What are you doing on this side of town?" And I was like, "I'm rehearsing a play." And he was like, "What play?" And I was like, "Little Shop of Horrors." And he goes, "Oh, I love Little Shop of Horrors." I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "I love the dentist." And instinctively I said, "I'm sure you do." But I didn't
Son, you'll be a dentist.
I didn't get a ticket, and he bought a ticket to my show on closing night.
Get out. That's amazing.
That reminds me of the Larry David bit where he's driving home and he's singing G Officer Krupke.
Yeah.
Well, it's you could replace dentist with then you'd be a police officer, like whatever, like any sadistic kind of thing.
So when I was
how good is that when he like is wearing the leather jacket and he walks through the door and he just kind of whips it off?
Yeah,
I don't know. Cool. When I was younger, I'm like something in me stirred.
So Steve Martin.
Well, and that's that.
It was so like smooth, and I was like, oh damn! Like it might be one of my favorite reveals,
jet black hair too.
Time. It was
it's
like
that
a drag
80s version.
Reveal.
It's that 80s version of the 50s that everyone was obsessed with. That like
Nostalgia.
Very unguilelessly, like Ronald Reagan was like trying to bring back, but it was just like over cartoonish representation of like what is cool.
Yeah,
right?
like
and it's so
Seymour.
effortlessly done. And then you have to split that idea with also, oh yeah, this guy's a piece of crap. This guy is like the worst dude ever, which of course gives an easy out for like, who's the first one to get fed to Audrey? Well,
yeah.
Also, he ends up meeting a patient who's actually worse than he is.
Oh my God. That scene was so fun with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's like, yeah. And I'm like, I remember watching this, what's happening?
I was watching the making of, because there's like a making of on YouTube, and they were talking about Steve Martin, who learned it took him 6 weeks to film all of his scenes because he kept coming up with ideas and being like, so it was his idea to rip the head off Jim Henson's daughter's doll. That's Jim Henson's daughter.
Oh my God. No way.
She had the
yeah.
Oh.
And well, it's because Brian Henson is the inside puppeteer for Audrey II. So like literally Frank Oz was bringing like Jim Henson's kids to work with him. So he came up with the idea of punching Mariam Margoyles when he walks in and hitting her with the door.
I know.
And
which is horrible, but also hilarious at the same time. Like it's mostly horrible.
She don't take no shit from him, but then he punches her and it's like,
what? He's crazy.
Yeah, so
But
it
yeah,
took us
there was a
6
lot
weeks
of
to do
improv
that.
there. By the way, lots of letterbox
Yeah.
review representation for Bill Murray's very small part of this. It's all.
Oh,
You know
Sorry.
what?
So
Like
what I was-
Lost
what I
in
was- what I was
Translation,
trying to-
Who? It's my favorite Bill
Yeah.
Murray performance.
Yeah.
Not even
Charlie's
close.
Angels is second for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Steve Martin. What I was trying to say. Steve Martin basically over prepared for this role, knew every line, and because of that, Bill Murray was able to improv his entire thing because Steve Martin was able to keep up with the script and knew the script so inside and out by the time he was actually filming it. The Bill Murray was just able to shout every line he comes up with is out of his head, and they use the best takes out of it because
That's
Steve Martin
so
could just keep the scene going.
What a
Yeah.
bad.
He was the straight man. Like-
It's funny because I've been kind of talking to John Hoffman, who created Only Mercy in the Buildings, and I'm like, how is because I was telling John, I was like, we're going over Little Shop of Horrors, and we're learning. I'm like, is Steve Martin really a very serious guy who's always
Is he
he's
really
like,
a wild and crazy guy? Thank you.
He over prepared. He's like, yeah,
Real
he's
wild
an over preparer. He takes his shit seriously. I'm like, yeah, he did. I mean, he dyed his hair jet black. I mean, that man's been opening
I remember
elderly
being
since
so
the
shocked.
70s.
I remember being so shocked that he had the jet black hair, and I was like, his hair isn't gray or white.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Is it dye or is it is it a wig? Because I'm wondering because he did the Three Amigos the same year, and his hair is back to being gray in the Three Amigos.
I was
there's
wondering
temporary
that too.
dye.
Yeah.
There's
I was
temporary dye,
wondering
but I don't know
that
how
too as I
fast
was
that
looking at
fades.
it. I was like, if that's a toupee, it's really good.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Give that toupee.
It looks like his hair. I think it is.
Toupee wrangler
arrays.
arrays. Thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
Is that role? He's not a really professional singer. Like he did, King Tut. He's done comedy albums where he does songs, but that's not a song where you have to have
he had the banjo in the song.
Yeah, he has a band. Yeah, I've seen him on tour. It's great.
Yeah.
And so he's not for the role. Even Rick Moranis is not a professional singer. Except for probably Ellen Greene and the girls who do the Greek choir. They're really good singers. And what's so great about these songs that you
one of
don't
them is
really
Martin's
have to
mom.
yeah. What's so great about Alan Menken and Robert Ashman's songs is that you don't have to really they make it so that you don't have to be a professional singer to really.
It's like normal
get
human
songs.
range. Yeah. It isn't
the
like you're
Disney
reaching
stuff,
for the.
but this is
You don't have to be Freddie Mercury to hit the notes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is why Somewhere That's Green is such a good audition song for so many women. Which by the way, I want to talk a little bit about Somewhere That's Green because a couple months ago I watched that documentary on Disney that was about Howard Ashman. Cried my freaking eyes out. The documentary didn't go far enough. They said something in the documentary about he wasn't a really political guy, and I was like, but he what?
A gay man in the 80s? What are you talking about?
You're crazy for that statement. But what I did kind of get from that documentary and in kind of reading more about his life and his work was that when he wrote Somewhere That's Green and a lot of other things that he would eventually go on to write for Disney, because basically Part of Your World and Somewhere That's Green are the same song. And so but when he wrote Somewhere That's Green, it was such a, queer coded, the message was about being a person living through the AIDS crisis and feeling like you don't belong and feeling you want to go back to a time when things were simpler and everything was easy and everything was picture, storybook perfect. And to know that he wrote that from a very true and real place while also keeping that humor and making it such just a melody that sticks in your head is just so genius.
Well, yeah, and rhyming greatest was semi-sadist. Great.
Yeah, no, seriously.
As a lyricist myself, it's
he's the father of the Disney Renaissance. People forget he's the one who did it. You owe all your Disney princesses to him, basically.
Yeah.
Well, and also, and in that,
Audrey II is my favorite Disney princess.
Oh, absolutely.
and within that song and within the representation in the movie of that song, it is such it works on multiple levels because there's the more earnestness element of it, and there's also I'm talking about Picture Out a Better Home and Gardens magazine, et cetera, and that it's that 80s prosperity gospel, we're trying to recreate our version of the 50s thing as well, but it's being so clearly lampooned in this way that manages to not make fun of the character
Yeah.
But you know, there's a humanistic approach to it, but it is like, this is a ridiculous thing to like be fantasizing about. Like, look at where you live versus like the reality that you like envision for yourself, like doesn't even exist. Like it wouldn't be possible to exist. But both those things happening at once is why it works. Because crazily, for as much murder and mayhem as in it, it's not cruel emotionally.
R.I.P. Audrey, you would have loved retiring to the South if you've lived.
But it's such a I mean, but it's like it literally is a picture out of Better Home and Gardens magazine.
Yeah.
Right? It's never like a house that people actually live in that you see in one of those spaces necessarily. Like it's a staged house.
It's like two-dimensional. Like the dog that's on the lawn seems like fake for a second.
Yeah.
Which one of my favorite little callbacks in that movie is like when she's packing her bags to run away with Seymour.
Yeah.
She packs that stuffed dog in her suitcase.
So great.
So cute.
They also found, I love that they found a kid that looked like Rick Moranis and they put the giant glasses on him.
Yeah. I know, right?
Wig on for Audrey.
Well, and I like too, and Forrest, I think you were the one that mentioned it, but sort of like the hyper realism of it looking like a stage play too, and like but that being sort of a way to accentuate the narrative structure and the emotions that are being carried through the performances and through the songs and through the actions, I think really works. And that's hard to do. That's like a lot of movies that try that and it sucks really bad.
Well, it really hits you like a certain way doing Skid Row, that entire number, because you can tell that they're on the stage set, like behind them. It's like a kind of, but like especially if you watch it now in like HD or something, right? Like you can tell it's like a fake, it's a set behind them that they're in. But
like
there's
it's
so many
like
different
New York Street on like the Warner Brothers lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's also weirdly like Sesame Street kind of almost, because
Yeah.
everywhere you look,
you're so right.
somebody like pops out their head and they're like on Sunday, like
Sesame Street
the whole,
during the recession. Jesus.
I mean, look who they're all working with. You know, Jim Henson. You know, like all the Muppets, Sesame Street.
That's
It's all tied together.
That is
Well,
so
I think-
true. Whoa.
But think about something like Singing in the Rain, right? That was like all done on the MGM lots in Culver City. Like so all of the built areas, like when we think of like the iconic the iconic scenes from there, it's like that was a stage set. That was like that wasn't a real place.
Well,
they built
these
stage
days
sets
everything
on
is
stage
CGI.
sets on Singing in the Rain, and it's like
exactly
fucks
stage
your
sets
brain
within
up.
stage sets.
Yeah, it fucks your brain up because you're like, I know this is a stage set, but now you're on another stage set.
Suck it, Nathan Fielder.
It's like when you're, I remember like watching like Into the Woods. I'm like, something that's like CGI, but then you're watching like Agatha All Along, and they're like, wow, they're actually using like a built-in like forest on a lot. Like they're actually building stuff.
And I feel like there was never any discussion of that with that show, and that's one of the things I really liked about it is that practicality. Because by the way, Audrey II doesn't work if it's CGI. No,
if they were to remake this with no puppets.
Don't.
The puppeteering is incredible. You said that they had 25 people working that puppet.
Yeah, I think
That's incredible.
26.
So
Well, all right. So I mean, obviously it starts out with less, but by the end of it, when it's the giant Audrey II, I think they said they needed 26 people to work that puppet.
Well, and you have because you have the buds that are doing the harmony parts and stuff. That are popping out, and like, which blew my mind because I was like, "Can I like this movie anymore?" Yes, I can. Apparently, okay.
Yeah, it's his own backup car.
When I went to go see the show on Off Broadway last year, which I saw with Constance Wu and Corbin Bleu, which was crazy.
That's interesting.
Do you always go with people whose names rhyme?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking.
And Audrey too.
It's a really good show to utilize different people.
Right. But when I went to the stage door, I was so excited to meet the people who were puppeteering because it was just two guys. One guy sat on the bottom and was like moving the vines, and literally just like it was his legs, like he was just kicking his legs the whole time. And then the other guy was using his hands to like open the mouth and stuff. And when I met them at the stage door, I was like, "You guys are so athletic," and they were like, "Tell that to my father. He's never heard that before."
Right.
It was so funny, but to think about something like that and like 10x that number is insane. Like the amount.
Well, this is a golden era for that type of practical effects. We talked about when we did Dark Crystal 1,000 years ago. When the Dark Crystal was new.
Labyrinth.
The Labyrinth too. It's another one of just like that was something that again, before CGI was like an easy
The
cop out
Hensons
option,
ruled.
like the weightlessness of that was never a factor because you had something to palpably react to. And I think that's, we need to bring that back. Like, Phil Tippett's still alive, people. Come on.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick from the comments, wasn't there an animated series that was bad? Yes, it was.
I've heard of this. I haven't seen it, but like a lot of people have
You know what?
about it.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you?
Okay.
1991 is when it came out. I was in
Like
high school
Beetlejuice?
because I'm 100,000 years old. And they, first of all, they're teenagers. Secondly, there's like no horror elements like at all. Thirdly, the animation, god awful. It's a Haim Saban
What's like the plot?
joint.
Is
Oh,
it like
Haim
post
Saban,
Audrey
don't even get me
2, or like what
started.
is it?
Audrey II helps them solve mysteries.
Look, can I tell you? Can I tell you? Audrey II raps.
Okay, that's
I mean, that
cool,
doesn't
though.
surprise
That
me.
makes sense,
That I could
though,
maybe-
honestly.
I want
It's
to
different.
hear
Audrey II was
Audrey
kinda
II
getting
spit some
there.
bars. You kidding me?
When Audrey II was like, "You didn't have nothing till you met me. Come on,
Yeah.
son, what will it be?"
It's
Freestyling for us.
it's someone that clearly greenlit it without actually watching the movie, is what I'll say. And it's
It's kind of like the Beetlejuice show that they had for like 2
Oh
years.
yeah.
remember
Where
the
I
Beetlejuice
saw
show,
I
yeah.
saw that too when it came out, where they were
Me
just
too.
buddies and like ran around. And it's like, well, hold on a second.
Wild.
He ain't the good guy. Beetlejuice is happening too.
But they made a lot of things in it. They're like, just to green light it, just put it on, like give the kids something to watch.
Yeah.
They were
Well, when did
not
they
thinking
make?
too hard.
When did they make Muppet Babies? Like they made Muppet Babies in
Late.
I guess that was the '80s, late
Yeah, that was
mid '80s.
late.
But
Yeah, that was around the
like-
same time. That was
But that was actually kind of good, though.
I know. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm saying I feel like they were kind of.
I heard you had
trying
a
to see
blog
what-
saying how terrible it was. Personally,
Yeah, they were.
Muppet Babies
I-
Truth Exposed.
They were
Not-
like the children
hashtag-
yearn for the Henson, but not in the way that Henson actually is.
It was
They're like
coffee.
hashtag not my Muppets.
Wow, Steve said Muppet Babies aired for 6 years.
It
That's a
it
long
went for a
time.
It was
while
pop-
because
yeah.
yeah,
Because they were
I-
featured in Muppet movies. That's why,
But I'm just saying, like, it's that that the junior version of it, right? Like I was thinking, like, what's the show that kind of did the same thing? It was like Muppet Babies kind of made them young. Like maybe they were maybe they're like, well, Muppet Babies works. Maybe like
Well, the
Audrey
difference
Jr.
there, though, is that Muppets had elements of dark humor, but it wasn't like an outright horror, which
Yeah.
this is. But it's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
because it's like stealth horror. Again, talking
Yeah.
about secret musical. This is a secret horror.
Yeah,
It's an
true.
explicit musical.
It's the gateway drug for musicals and for
Yeah.
horror. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Get you a
Which,
girl
by
who
the
can
way,
do both.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that when they managed to recruit Frank Oz, he was working on Muppets Take Manhattan,
Yeah.
Right?
and so he jumped from Muppets Take Manhattan into doing this.
He was busy in
Oh.
the 80s.
Yeah.
He was
Busy.
working.
I mean,
He ruled
Yeah.
the 80s. I mean, again, like Conan pointed out, this was a time for practical effects. And if you needed a company, it was Jim Henson's company to do all that work for you.
Yeah.
By the way, Frank Oz came up in Oakland, by the way. That's a fact that I just know.
hometown,
True Oakland
baby.
fact stated. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Shout out to Barbara Lee for getting elected as
She's
mayor. of
a
Oakland.
new mayor. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yup.
You know,
Yeah,
so
but like Frank Oz really did have a crazy. So 1983 was Return of the Jedi. That's like pretty much his biggest Star Wars movie up to that
Well,
point.
he was
right?
Yoda. You
Yeah.
know, like he
Yeah,
was like
that's what I'm
Yoda
saying.
and Empire before that even, and then Dark Crystal, Muppets Take Manhattan, Little.
But
he
I'm
was
saying
Yoda.
like he has a. I mean, but his Yoda role like continues. Like I feel like that's his. Well, that's his, and that's like the puppeteer.
That's his baby.
Like
Like
Star
Grogu.
Wars movie, right? So
Like
that was
Grogu.
1983, and then 1984 Muppets Take Manhattan, and then 1986 Little Shop of Heart. Like that, there's like a crazy space of time to be doing this.
Insane.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you know Children's Fairyland in Oakland at the top of Lake Merritt? Are you
Yes.
familiar?
Okay, I've been there once, and the only way I was able to go in was that because you need a child to
You
go
need
in.
a child to go in.
And
yeah,
I was with a person who was going to turn 18 in 1 week, and I was like,
I'm a child.
technically, this person's a child. Can I go to
Yeah.
Fairyland? And they're like, I don't see why not. So we got to go in, and it was incredible. It really did feel like something out of a Jim Henson universe.
and
So
they
that
do
all
they,
makes
they,
sense.
they do their best to protect it, and there is a once a year they allow adults in as well.
Yeah.
And like you can drink and stuff. But the reason why I bring it up is when Oz came up as a puppeteer, That's where he met Jim Henson. His puppet troupe was performing at Children's Fairyland,
I
which
didn't
features
know
in a lot
that.
of Philip K. Dick books too. Philip K. Dick,
Yeah.
also a Bay Area resident.
We love
Like,
our
it's on
Wow.
3 of
dickheads.
them.
That makes a lot of sense because even when you go to like the Jim Henson Studios, like at least the legacy of how that lot used to look, like it kind of looks like Children's Fairyland. So that's very, very
A little bit, right? It's got a
Yeah.
similar vibe, but it's such a weird niche thing that unless you basically came up in the Bay Area or like near
Yeah.
it, like people are like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Children's Fairyland. It's like, no, it's
Damn, learning lore about my
weird.
hometown. That's crazy.
And it's weird because it's not corporate. It's not assigned to any like larger intellectual property. Like it still just exists. It's awesome.
That's so cool.
So, anyways, that's how Frank Oz met Jim Henson. And how
Yeah.
they
Now
ended
with
up,
casting, how did they decide to like, you know what? Let's just go with Ellen Greene. Like Rick Moranis obviously is a perfect Seymour because I know know it's obviously she's the only one I think from the original cast. But why did they decide to go just with her? They're like no one else could probably do this role. There's because you said that there was some
the
options
studio,
like Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Barbara
So the
Streisand
studio
is
wanted Barbara
crazy voice.
Streisand.
Yeah.
That would've-
And then they also
old.
auditioned Cyndi Lauper. Those were like the two
Cyndi
major ones they
Lauper,
were
I
looking
can
at.
kind of get into maybe. The thing is, though,
Yeah.
it's so wild because it's like those other options like interest me, but like it's Ellen Greene is so ubiquitous
She's so
with
perfect.
Audrey. Like it
Yeah.
can't be
Yeah.
separated. Like every single Audrey I've seen, and I've seen Little Shop like on stage so many times, and every single person who ever has done, they always do the voice. Like
Yeah,
like
that
there
was
has never
sweet.
been
It's
another.
like an impression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to channel her in their own way. Also, my favorite thing about Ellen Greene is like when she sings, and it's kind of that like upper register nasally kind of breathy thing, and then out of nowhere, like in Skid Row, she's like, relationships are no good. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, and she just lets it rip out of nowhere, and she chooses very strategically where to let it rip. So like her vocals just have so much like it's like when she's really showing her like true passion, it's when her like beltiness really reaches its climax. And when she's sort of still questioning herself, it's that more kind of like reserved, like very like under her breath sort of thing. It's one of my favorite vocal performances of all time for that reason, because it's so dynamic. And
I don't know why I know this, but somewhere that's green, they needed 2 cranes for that, and you can actually see it shift a little bit when it goes.
Whoa!
To the second crane. That's how far out it goes. All practical effects.
Yeah.
So they
I
had
remember seeing her Pushing Daisies too, Ellen Greene.
That's
Bring
right.
back that show.
That's right. Oh,
Not too late.
Writer's strike ruined that. I mourn it every day.
Yeah,
I like how Pushing Up Daisy has come up on multiple episodes now.
Like
I feel
3
like,
episodes
I feel like
in the past 2 months.
we're
Yeah.
the
Movie Night
we're the
Extravaganza
champions
is
of bringing it
eventually
back.
going to review TV shows, and we'll talk about Pushing Daisy.
We're gonna bring it back
I love that
single-handedly.
show.
It's a
We
great
talked
show.
about it during Wicked because of Christian Chenoweth.
That's right.
But yeah, and then we talked about it, I think, during the Oscars too.
We're doing it.
I want to turn the Oscar.
So she kind of got into this really close, Ellen Greene kind of got into this very close relationship with Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Like they thought of her as like a muse when they're writing this thing. And really she's like, she had a lot of ideas. People seemed to like really take her under their like wing, and they were really having trouble finding another Audrey. And they were the ones that suggested like, hey, why don't you talk to Ellen Greene, who like we love her, like that's our girl, like, and if you talk to her, you can cast her maybe, or like whatever. And Frank Oz said he actually had he didn't care that she was in the musical. He was just like, yeah, like we clicked. So her version of so then they went and she purchased like a new kind of wig, and like it was a whole different kind of performance, because she's a lot more like flighty and kind of beat up in the stage play, and then the musical, like the movie musical, right? Like they play that down a little bit, because it's like, I mean, they don't play down the abuse part, but they play down like how beat up she really is, and how like kind of flighty she really is. And in the stage play, and they're like, look, we want to have a kind of a different thing. So she brought Frank Oz to get a new wig and everything at the store, and it's like, all right, that's my Audrey. Like,
yeah, and again, one of the most tragic things that is not done is actually filming live productions of shows with the original cast to be preserved. That's a very rare thing. I mean, I always every year I always watch my bootleg of Jersey Boys that I found in Wicked.
I love
I found
Jersey Boys.
No, the guy who played Frankie Valli on Broadway, so the original, the OG. And
Yes,
so
TV
it's
show
good that-
extravaganza, yes.
Yeah. But it's so good that Ellen Greene gets her performance preserved, because I mean it's not that far off. I mean you have to, and I mentioned this before with Sweeney Todd, a bunch of others, you have to take elements from the stage show out to adapt it to screen properly. And the fact that they actually did not take away the Greek choir actually was a smart idea, because you need those girls to help tell the story.
Yeah.
But it's good that there's an essence of that Broadway that off-Broadway performance for her in the film. That's all that matters, because we see it with Rex Harrison, Yul Brynner. Didn't get to see it with obviously they didn't do it with My Fair Lady, but I mean for Julie Andrews, but they did with Rex Harrison because he can sing apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, he can rap. He can rap.
He can rap.
Maybe
Rex Harrison is Audrey II in
the cartoon. Yeah, exactly.
Rap battle Rex Harrison versus Kendrick. Let's go.
I wonder
Say
though.
Rex.
I wonder if off-Broadway is easier to adapt in some ways than actual full Broadway. Because I mean, you look at like the 1960s ones, like Sound of Music or like My Fair Lady or anything like that. They're like 3-hour long movie. They're like we're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this stage show in all of its glory. We're gonna even give it like a 20-minute long intermission, which obviously bring back intermissions, but like they really they go all out on that. And I wonder if the fact that off-Broadway, like just by definition, right, because of the budgets, has to be a little bit more contained. It's a little bit easier to keep that spirit going for a movie, I think, and not have to do like a 3-hour epic that people are like still talking about with their kids, like right. I don't know, like 50 years later.
Right. Yeah, I like that the movie is kind of like short and sweet, and that the play is short and sweet. It's like it's still 2 acts, but like the pacing is so good. And
it's 94 minutes. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Here we go.
There's nothing I love more than like an hour 30 movie or hour 35. Hour 35 is the sweet spot. I need that extra 5 minutes.
It's kind of hard to do with musicals though. But I think with off-Broadway shows, like if they were to adapt Avenue Q.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, when are they doing that? I gotta message Bobby Lopez and be like, yo, when are you and Jeff gonna do Avenue Q? The movie, like,
can you even do it today? I don't
do it Frozen.
Capsule.
You can't.
It was a little bit racist.
So I got some all
Everyone's
castings.
a lot of it racist now.
I got some all castings real quick. We can just blast them real quick. Most of the Seymour Krelborn all castings are just like people that were hot at the time, like Matthew Broderick, Emilio Estevez,
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Nice.
I mean, Matthew Broderick would make sense because I mean, yeah.
Those are guys.
Audrey.
Like, I will beat the drum on this forever. I don't want to see any more hunky Seymours. Like,
why
the
do
guy
they do this?
that is
Why?
playing Seymour on Off-Broadway right now is the most beautiful man I've ever seen.
Give me Ben Platt.
It makes me want to spit. Bring back weird little guy. Like, I'm over it. No more haughty Seymours. I'm over it. Done.
No.
I do think it would be very funny to have Tom Cruise, Seymour, and then he jumps on the couch when Audrey says,
So the best castings though are for Owen Scrivello, of course, the Steve Martin role. There's some good Mushnicks as well. Like I also really wanted Marlon Brando to be Mr. Mushnick, which would have been amazing because I would have 80s.
How would you like to be my son, Seymour?
Very awesome. But Tim Curry was in mine.
Oh
my
my
God!
Could you imagine?
So good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What could have
I think it would be, but I get why he might not want to do it because it's like this movie gets mentioned in the same breath as like Rocky Horror all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I've already done
I'm gonna
one.
be in
I already done one
yeah.
cult classic musical. I'm not doing another one. But come on.
It'd be like
cult
damned for all
classics.
time.
Oh really?
So-
you find out at the end there it's a giant alien. Really? You want me to do another one of those?
I mean, he had just done Legend, and Clue.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So after Tim Curry declined, Frank Oz considered Dan Aykroyd. Okay.
Oh, whoa.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I could maybe see it though.
I can see it.
I think
John
that'd be-
Travolta.
No way.
Oh God.
Oh,
We were too close on the
DDS.
greaser. We were too close on the nose to be a greaser, though. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Wow.
Robin Williams.
Oh.
Dude, imagine Robin Williams like imagine you see him like you see him like punching Audrey in the face like and you're like, no, Robin Williams, don't beat her up anymore.
Wait, oh my God, Robin Williams as the dentist is so inspired, though. That's incredible.
It's way too funny.
I gotta say, Gene Wilder also considered for the role.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my
Basically, just
God.
like
think-
all
I
of
think-
the best character actors.
Honestly,
Well,
like I
Gene
could watch
Wilder
this
has
movie
a-
with all
yeah.
of these different combos, and I would be thrilled. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
Tim
Gene
Curry,
Wilder has
though.
Gene Wilder has a cruel streak
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
like
That's right.
I think would go really well for
The
like
sadistic Willy
even his,
Wonka, I mean-
yeah, like his Willy Wonka has like this darkness to him, and it's like
Good day,
oh
sir.
shit, like
I've always said that Willy
Gonna kill
Wonka is
these
the
kids.
biggest movie villain. He'd be out here like killing children and being like, "Oh well, crazy."
he would have had a crazy reality show though.
Yeah, we're,
Right,
like,
right.
Right now we're watching Dark Shadows still, and a lot of people are like, "Why does that one little creepy girl look like Violet Beauregard?" I'm like, because that is her before
that's
she
Violet
did Willy
Beauregard.
Wonka. Like, yeah, like with
Crazy.
Gene Wilder, and Tim Curry, my two favorite all picks for for the dentist. I think that.
Yeah,
would be
I
cool.
love
Yeah.
that.
Can you imagine him, Tim Curry?
Oh,
going,
Rocky,
I am your
These teeth are
dentist."
disgusting.
So before we move off of this, I need to go through the Audrey II alt castings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So we'll start with what I think is one of the more obvious ones, Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Eddie Murphy's running hot around this
Into it.
time.
I'm
right?
Audrey. Damn it.
Exactly.
He has to do the laugh instead of like the
Right, right.
I'm Audrey too. Damn it.
Like,
I'm gummy. Damn it.
Red Fox.
Oh,
Ooh.
Stanford
Yeah.
and Son.
Okay.
I feel like it works because it has to be like a slightly older guy,
Yeah.
right? Like to do that like level of
Isaac Hayes.
Ooh.
That's a
But
chef.
that's the
Chef,
Audrey too.
Chef Audrey.
Right.
Okay.
Ray Charles.
Okay.
Really though?
Okay. All right.
Where are my sunglasses at?
maybe.
All right. Richard Pryor.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be good.
Richard Pryor
Although,
and Gene
can-
Wilder back together.
I
maybe.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like this
Sorry,
time
man, I
Richard
gotta
Pryor
kill
eats.
you.
Yeah, Richard Pryor eats him.
The revenge.
Two more. Mick Jagger.
Whoa!
I don't-
He
I
got
don't-
the moves like Audrey. He got the moves like Audrey.
Yeah, I don't think I don't want a white Audrey too. I
don't
like.
want it-
I
no,
just feel like there's
no.
something like there's something
I'd
a bit
rather-
problematic about it.
Well, because the last one, David Bowie.
Okay, well, you know
I
what?
mean,
Maybe.
yeah. He transcends.
Okay, we can put it in
he trans-
second. Like,
Recant!
Magic plants.
Sinners
Magic
recant.
plants.
Oh my
He
God.
Yeah,
he
it's-
transcends
You
We're
race.
say
like,
dance
absolutely
plastic
not.
plants.
Just
No, I
kidding.
said
This
dance
one's
magic
fine.
plants.
Dance plastic plants.
Well, but see, he would have to do that. He would have to do his voice, and then it would stop being like a strange caricature of like a black R&B singer, right? Like it would.
That's
Yeah.
tough titty, kid.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
isn't Audrey II now being like in the show? A lot of like black women with very big, like I think like women of color are also starting to voice Audrey II now as well.
Yeah,
certain
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I think the
Because the
voice of
big
Audrey II right
voice.
now.
He made
on
Audrey
Broadway
too
is
woke.
women. Goddamn woke little
But I
shop.
do like,
whoever allowed that.
DEI, Little Shop of Horrors.
It's the David Bowie Audrey too. He's like, why doesn't MTV play rap music, huh? Like, all right, Audrey II's got some woke opinions there.
Anyway, I thought those were interesting. I think the all castings can be a mixed bag, but that's all like, wow, none of those
Sorry
are
though.
bad decisions.
Yeah,
They're just like very different.
I could see an
right?
avenue for all of those combinations.
Yeah,
I want to see.
absolutely.
I want to see that Marlon Brando, Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder. Let's get them in a room.
Let's
Let's see what
I think I
happens.
say Marlon Brando, Tom Cruise, and freaking Richard
Barbra
Pryor.
Streisand?
Okay,
That's
And
Why?
Barbra Streisand, because why not? That'd be
Barbra
that'd be
Streisand,
the
yeah,
weirdest
exactly.
movie ever.
You're out of order. This whole plant's out of order.
if they do any of those, like one of those sliding doors, like Alt Dimension, somebody screwed up the timeline movies, right? That could be like someone's watching Little Shop of Horrors, and that's the
So
deal.
ready.
You
That's
know
what it
who's
is.
missing from this all casting though for any character, especially a certain patient? Jack Nicholson. Imagine if
He was
came
in the
back and
original,
played that character.
right? He was one
Yes.
of the patients.
Imagine if he
crazy.
was the sadistic patient again, like come full
Can-
circle.
Can I tell you somebody that auditioned and wasn't cast for Close It Out for Seymour Coburn? Billy
Yeah.
Crystal.
Ooh.
Whoa. Okay.
Billy
Mm.
Crystal.
He's too much of a wise ass, I think, for that role.
Yeah.
I think you need to be
is.
a little earnest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like I like like Tom Cruise, Orange Cavell, and he's doing the Jerry Maguire where he's like in his underwear and doing the dance,
He's, like,
when
sliding
nobody's
it.
looking, and then he just slides into the plant.
Go.
Incredible.
Yeah. Pretty wild. Anyway, very subversive movie. Like, but it's interesting that we need to revisit the ending because the original ending is like so bleak and so truer to the stage show, but it's so crazy that I didn't know about it for years. Like this was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, and like I didn't know that there was even a different ending
because you didn't see the stage show.
Well, I
didn't. Yeah, and you only
Jesus
I know,
Christ.
but and you only had the movie as a base, but also too for the longest time the alternative.
I'm
original
sorry. I'll
ending-
flagellate myself with my cat o' nine tails for not seeing
No,
the
but I'm just
musical at
pointing
8
out.
years old.
Orange Cavell would love that.
but not even everyone had access to the original ending because it was not available for the longest
we didn't have
time,
YouTube.
right?
We couldn't be like
Yeah.
original ending.
Well,
then
I know.
and
Star
When
Wars.
did
Neither
we get that
did-
ending? When did that become available for us to?
So this is interesting. So I got to look up which year the director's cut came out, but for the longest time, Frank Oz thought it was a lost ending because it was just on the cutting room floor, and somebody uploaded, someone had access to it or whatever, and uploaded it to YouTube, and was like, hey, look, this is the ending to Little Shop of Horrors. I don't even know how they got it, but
probably some
I'm
stats.
trying to see what year.
Yeah,
So, but
that's right, Conan.
he only found out about it when he was releasing the director's cut, and someone's like, did you know someone found the ending? And he like contacted the guy and was like, hey, can I yeah, the guy found it on YouTube, and it was like partially colored or whatever. And, yeah.
Well, and it's a lot too. It goes on for a while. Like and
It's
it's really
like 20 minutes.
There's an extra song, I mean,
By the way, 2012, I think, is when the director's cut came out.
Well, that's probably the first time I saw it. It blew my mind because the whole time I was like, wow, I love that movie so much. It's too bad the ending just kind of peters out. Was that how we thought it?
Yeah.
That's like the weakest part of the whole movie, honestly. It's like, yeah, happy ending, but
I had to have seen it pretty early YouTube, because I remember for a while YouTube was just episodes of TV shows that people had uploaded that, because at the time they weren't paying people for YouTube, right? Like it was just free and you just put shit on there and hoped it would explode. So there was like alternate
all the copyright control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like people uploading alternate endings to things, scenes from movies in like 240p. And you're like, oh wow, this looks so good back then, because what the fuck do you know?
Yeah.
You know the difference. And
I was like, what is this?
and so it's that, and it was like episodes of TV shows. And I remember like around the same time I got into Little Shop of Horrors, it had to have been that I was like Googling all my favorite movies to be like, oh, is there an alternate ending to this? Is there an alternate ending to this? Of Little Shop of Horrors there was. And I was like, oh fuck, that's dark.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. Oh god, I remember when I saw that name for the first. Because I saw the movie first, and then I saw the stage production with my friend who was off his meds, so he was going nuts because he actually really. I'm like, dude, chill out. Take your Adderall, please. I'm trying to enjoy the show. But I was like, oh, everyone doesn't get a happy ending. That's nice. And my mom's like, this is not what I expected at the end. I'm like, an abuse victim meets her end. And honestly, they're all probably at peace, to be honest. I wouldn't want world domination.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live
in
a
the
world
stage
of world
production,
domination.
at least the one that they're doing right now, they all become plants.
Yes.
Which is cute, because Audrey's like, if I'm in the plant, then I'm part of the plant. And then we all get to be part of the plant.
Exactly. That's exactly
what
part of the
conspiracy.
Which kind of is similar to the original Roger Corman one, which is every leaf pretty much opens up, every bud, and it's somebody's face that Seymour is fed to the plant. The last shot of the movie.
Right,
the last shot of the movie is Seymour. That shit terrified me as a kid.
No, it is like, deeply haunting. Yeah.
And his face is there, and he's like, "I'm sorry," and the plant wilts like that, or his bud wilts, and then the movie ends.
Christ.
And but like
it's really dark.
But Audrey's like the Audrey character, like she survives that one. Mushnick survives that one. Like he feeds a lot of homeless people to the plant, basically, and like prostitutes.
Well, we love someone who provides mutual aid. So there it is. Feed the hungry. How very Christ-like.
But like, but
I got good news for you. Your housing problem is over.
Well, in the Roger Corman one, it's kind of funny because it's like, a drunk guy wanders in front of a train and gets hit, and Seymour is like, "Oh well, that's ethical
already
consumption,
dead.
I guess. Like, so it's
what
like
it is.
that guy, or it's like, yeah, it's like each person kind of dies in front of him, and then the plant hypnotizes him, which is a power that the plant has in the Roger Corman one, which I really like. That there's this weird performance that I really like that Rick Moranis does, where when the plant's moving his head, a lot of times you'll see Seymour move his head to the same kind of way the plant is, as if he's kind of hypnotized, and it's like it's such a good like subtle reference to the Roger Corman performance.
Yeah,
the Roger Corman, yeah.
I mean, he feeds his blood first, so there's maybe that type of weird connection there. I mean, until he starts having to feed people because he's getting so big.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can we talk about John Candy? Like that little cameo for like him playing like what
the radio guy.
Yeah,
weird Wink Wilkinson. Try to say that.
He's doing a one-dude radio show. Yeah.
I was looking at his Foley desk because you guys know I did SpongeBob musical and I was the Foley artist / French narrator. And anyway, I was looking at his Foley desk and I was like, I could have used that for my freaking show.
Yeah.
I was jealous. I was like, what's that crank thing? That's sick.
Well, because he goes, that's better.
And poor Rick is like, what the? Is this how radio dudes do their show? Like,
did he improv that? It seemed like he improved all of that.
Probably.
Yeah, I think a lot of the cameos are like just improv. Like there's that one that's pretty amazing. Christopher Guest, I don't think is improv, but he comes in and his eyes are like he has those crazy eyes. And
I almost didn't recognize him because his eyes were so crazy.
It was that strange, interesting plant.
He's literally just an NPC from like
he's an NPC character. I sure would like to. Yeah.
When I was listening to the movie version, and like obviously I know the script's like back to front, and I was like all of these lines like I could recite from having done the show, except for when there's a cameo, and then they just like let the actors do whatever they want, and I love that. I love that it's very true to the stage version. There are very few changes to the words that were written on the page, except for when you're letting the celebrities like just kind of do their thing, which I think was.
And it's such a connected group of celebrities, which I think.
Yeah,
I think if you were going to replace like the Steve Martin character, or if you're going to replace, Rick Moranis, like you're going to replace one of those big characters, you have to get a whole new slate of celebrities because I feel like Tom Cruise, John Candy, Jim Belushi, who was not supposed to be in it. They cast Patrick Dooley, who was like he's in a lot of the Christopher Guest documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of these, so he's the guy that's like. And it makes a lot more sense in the original ending because he has the cutting of the plant that he stole from the Audrey II, and he's like holding it, and he's like, "Look, we've already made a cutting of it," and then it's like smiling at him, and it's so fucking creepy, and he's about to kill himself by jumping off of a building, and he like that's when he decides
the suicide attempt.
He's already
that was a while. I was like, okay,
he's
it got dark real quick.
If you jumped off that building, the only thing that would happen is you break your leg, and then
I know
my leg.
But that's Skid Row for you, right? Like you go to the top of like a tenement building, and you're like, you're not gonna die from jumping off a tenement building. I'm sorry, like
it's like that. It's like the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's like Patty's got a jumper. I'm like, have you not seen the episode where the McPoyles hold the gang hostage and they actually had to fall, and they thought that he just landed on his feet.
So funny.
But yeah, there's that is that's the episode where Frank's like, oh no, you don't, and but so it's like that whole it's so interesting that the last third of the movie pretty much is just it's different in the alternate, and it's like it almost feels like the original ending almost feels like it feels almost Scorsese, you know what I mean, like it feels like you're kind of watching
Play Layla now.
I mean, I think it's in the pantheon of just the alt ending.
After Hours. That's what I was gonna say, and then somehow it slipped my mind. It feels like you're watching After Hours. That's
oh my god, yeah. Man,
it's just in the pantheon of like movies that are just very different from the original ending. Like the most extreme, although it's sort of like the neon Technicolor, even though it's black and white, happy ending. That's sort of like the Brazil thing, where it's like, okay, this is a little bit rotten at the core somehow. There's something about here that doesn't add up. And then you see like the little Audrey II, it's like, or Audrey III, I guess. And it's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
But like,
It's like
It's
imagine
also funny,
Titanic had a happy ending. It did not
Well,
sink.
it's funny. It's funny to rewatch that, and then a few days later, I watched Godzilla. You know, like the new
Sure.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
And but it's
all
always
nice.
the same thing where it's like, they defeat Godzilla, and then all of a sudden you see like like a piece of Godzilla or something, or like a tiny little lizard or something. And you're like,
There you go. Can we talk about the one song that was not in any of the previous versions that I think is a cornerstone of the entire thing? Mean Green Mother from Outer Space.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
I love it. And I wish it was in the stage version so badly.
Yeah.
Did our bows to that song because we were like, we can't not include it. We love it.
I mean, it was written for the film.
Like a good
Yeah, it was written for the film.
It is the first Oscar-nominated song to contain profanity.
Really?
Yes,
Took him what, 50 years?
exactly. And Levi Stubbs performed it at the Oscars that year, but he had to change the lyrics to be more family friendly.
Wow. I was wondering if it was nominated for an Oscar. That's cool.
It's so
I love
good.
that. It's
I mean,
a
it's-
great song.
Yeah, it's I got nothing else to say other than that. The fact that I
Yeah.
think it's funny.
No
the
notes.
first
It's a
one
perfect song.
First one
I
to
love it.
contain profanity that was Oscar nominated, which rules, and it's from this
Hell yeah.
movie. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
should we do, because Lauren has to go? Should we do,
I didn't expect that to be the conversation killer, but here we are. Yeah. You want to do letterbox one-liners so we can?
because Lauren has to go in 10 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, of course, Letterboxd is a place for film lovers to talk at it with into each other about the movies they love, maybe the movies they didn't love, maybe the movies that they exclusively talked about the Bill Murray dentist scene for an alarming amount of time.
Candy bar, when you get a candy bar.
And, of course, all of this is bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. Everyone gets to chime and opine about the movies, and not just Siskel's and Eberts of the world. And, of course, this is all best expressed succinctly for the purpose of this bit, where I collect these weekly for the panel and for Forrest to react to, laugh at, with, and so on. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for Little Shop of Horrors. Let's roll them. Was Bill Murray's small role as a masochist with a dentist kink necessary in this movie? No. Am I glad it was included? Yes.
I love it. You know what? I think that it's great that people can find themselves in art like this.
Yeah.
Like me for real.
I
It's like those people who go to the dentist and yet they're already like perfectly like their teeth. They don't need any work done. It's like, what are you here for? I'll just give you the extreme bleaching. Maybe I don't know.
Well, and he has such a long thing where he's like, he's like, I went to this one woman the other day and she's blind, but we tell her where the problem is, she can really, hit the spot, and she eventually works her way to it. And
It's the fact that he tries to lead with one of the tools.
And all them tools.
There's a lot of detail that happens with that, for sure. Yeah, interesting, but not surprising to see how much of that was improv, too, because it's very good. Oh, to feed my crush's abusive boyfriend to a big Venus flytrap from outer space and then win her heart.
Yeah. It's like a Disney princess movie, honestly. Or a Disney prince movie in this case.
Yes.
That's true.
When are we getting those?
He even has his own song. You're right.
Perfect.
Oops.
Yes, indeed. Are his balls okay?
Who's?
Yeah, he
The
hits
plant?
it right in the mouth. Yeah.
No, when Seymour when he's like, I'm gonna bust your balls, and then like
Oh,
he
yeah.
fucking
I'm gonna
shoots
bust
a
your
branch.
balls.
So, all right,
Yeah.
can I tell you, this is how you can tell if you're a male presenting person watching this movie versus a female. That is very memorable for me. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ouchie, wowie.
You get the point. I want to bust your balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying. It's the most terrifying part of it's not the plant that eats people. It's literally just a plant. It's a plant that can hit you in the nuts.
Yeah,
it's a plant. It's a plant that you can put you onto America's Funniest Home Videos for the wrong reasons.
Might damage your testicles. Exactly. That's
God.
it's important. I need this plant to kill some enemies of mine, low key.
I can name a few people right now.
The only problem is, you start with your enemies and then it just keeps growing and growing, and then there's got to be a sweet spot where your enemies are gone, but you can still kill the plant.
As the kids would say, I must feed my ops to the plant.
There you go.
You acting sus. I'm gonna feed you to those plants.
Me when I get gaslit by a carnivorous singing plant.
He gets. Nobody has ever gotten more gaslit in their lives than Seymour with that plant.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Loved it. I am scared of blood though.
2x.
So is Seymour.
Yeah.
Very earnest.
I love like when the plant like finally talks, and he's like feed me, and then the first thing that the first thing you hear he's like I don't have any more, and he's like more. It's like, damn, this is a thirsty ass plant. I need some water, baby, in the waste way.
It's plant thirsty AF.
He there's such a perfect. He has like such a perfect, almost like Bugs Bunny voice when he says, "I need me some water in the waste way."
In the waste way.
Yeah.
It's really good. Ooh, that plant was a freak.
when he makes the call,
freak. This is a freaky little movie.
when he makes the call to Audrey, and he's like, "Hey, little baby, come on," and she's like, "Who is this?"
What is this, one of those like sex calls like at 11:30 at night or whatever? Like, hello.
She also says Seymour, and it's like, you think Seymour can do that voice?
Why do you think that'd be Seymour?
My girl. You do not know your man.
He's like,
And she just goes there anyway. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Don't.
It's a different time.
But I like. She's also like,
caller
like,
ID?
I need some water, and he's like, I don't think I should, and it's like, yes, bitch, run. What are you doing?
Run, bitch,
Okay, maybe a little sprint though.
Well, you do look kind of dry, puss.
Oh my god.
Ridiculous. I've been barred from family movie night for demanding the director's cut.
Or did you save your family?
Exactly.
Depends on what your family is like. I guess.
The parents are the parents
Like,
are
what are
sitting
you
there and
doing?
they're like, I'm so happy that they survived. Turn on the director's cut.
You know what's so funny too is you're talking to the girl who saw both Alien movies when she was 5, and I think I turned out okay. That name for Little Shop of Horrors is nothing.
Y'all better not buy any weird plants tomorrow.
Hey, what were people
I wonder-
doing besides baking bread?
Yeah.
Wait, was this? I'm pretty sure August 20th, 2017. This is when the solar eclipse happened.
Yes.
And Trump, Trump looked at it.
I
Yeah.
was
Yes,
on a
it
road
was.
trip to see the eclipse. This was
The
the
amount
day before.
Yes, the
Yeah.
memes were. I remember that now, and I remember
No, this
like
this
I'm like,
hits
Little Shop of
so much
Horrors?
harder. This hits so much harder that the person's like, don't buy any weird plants tomorrow.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Dadu.
Eclipse Dadu. Where do I audition to play the sassy plant? That's the
Any
question I want.
community theater.
There you go.
Any of them.
Real houseplants of Beverly Hills or whatever.
There you go. There you go. There you
No,
go.
Real Houseplants of Skid Row.
Those are the letterbox one-liners for this movie, Little Shop of Horrors. You can follow us along on at Movie Night Extra for our Movie Night Extravaganza Letterbox HQ account on that platform. Please follow along for all the attendant short-form content, clips, stories about the movies in the episodes that we cover, all that good stuff. Leader of the Plaque over there at Always Flacco. Forrest, he's on Letterboxd. You can hit him up and see what he's watching. See what he's watching for the show and
What
beyond.
you watching?
What you watching? What you watching? I am Conan, son of Lee Neutron, at Conan Neutron, doing the highbrow, the midbrow, the populous fair, everything in between.
Suddenly, Conan.
Follow me along for that. I'm actually ahead of pace somehow, even though I've was gone for
You've been
2
busy.
weeks. So yeah, I caught a few in the plane, so I'm keeping pace. Plane. Audrey Plaza. Audrey Plaza down there.
Yeah, that one
Kristina.
took me a minute when she first popped up. I was like, Audrey.
Respect. Is Adam Kristina. Kristina Oakes is on Letterboxd.
saw
And you can
Sinners.
follow along, indeed, which we have an announcement about that coming up soon. The announcement is we're going to do an episode. I'll do the announcement now, and it's going to be pretty soon. So
the announcement is we're going to do an episode, not
I was like, why am I teasing this? It takes more time to tease this than to say what the thing we're going to do is, right? I mean,
did you guys see? I mean, Kristina definitely saw the Variety article about it, but they called him Ryan Googler. It was like Ryan Googler. He's out here Googling again.
Googler.
If you're gonna be off, you better.
Ryan Googler. Right. Lauren Chouinard, DDS, Lonely Goat Herd, one of my first friends on the popular Letterboxd platform. Always a great follow. Always wonderful on there. I think we're going to break format a little bit and have Lauren do final thoughts because she's got Jeff Bridges to see, right?
Yeah, I have to go watch Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges, and no big deal.
Sounds terrible. Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And whatever your final thoughts are, that's just like your opinion, man.
My final thought is that like any chance that I can get to like be in a production of this like show, I will do it. Anytime I get a chance to watch this production, I will do it. I will watch this movie over and over and over again and still laugh like it was the first time I ever saw it. Like it just stands the test of time. It's so like transversive. It's funny. It's fucked up. It is like the melding and welding of worlds. Like it has it all. It's the gateway drug to everything good about movies and film. And you can put that on my gravestone. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Well, Lauren, we love having you on. Thank you for coming on for this.
Thanks
this
so
classic.
much, you guys. Thanks for having me. Next time you do another musical, I'm always here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell
Jeff we said what up.
I will.
Get him on the
I
pod.
will. The dude abides. The dude abides.
We'll have him also come on for Big Lebowski.
Absolutely,
Exactly,
I'm going to ask him to come
We'll
on
be
the
nice
pod.
enough to make space for him.
We only let you leave early because you promised you'd ask Jeff Bridges.
Absolutely, yeah, that was a part of the deal. All right, bye, you guys. Love you all.
Right. Bye. Let's hit it with the plugs.
Bye.
Bye.
Hang on. I wasn't ready. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
That's right. So that's relevant again because Protonic Reversal is back for the first time in a month. I've got Justin Folio's Dirty program coming out. The second part of the Bible Songs record is coming out. And very excited to be at the apex, the advanced guard, if you will, of the press cycle for that fantastic band who I love quite a bit. And let's see, Nina Nastasia is coming back on as well. There's a couple other really cool things coming up. So I've got a 4-week window before I go back on tour again. So Protonic Reversal will be back for the time being. ProtonicReversal.com for the archives. Subscribe on YouTube or your podcasting platform of choice. $1 a month, patreon.com/Protonic Reversal for advance access for all that stuff. Of course, everything else, it's Secret Friends World. I just came back from a 2-week tour of Japan. Want to hear all about that? join the after party. That's going to be probably at least half of that. We'll see. There's plenty of stuff to talk
The
about.
Mean Green after party from outer space.
Mean Green after party from Awooga. Way of the Neutrons, a new record. You can get that any place that you get your music at to listen for free. neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Pre-order CDs, LPs. You can do digital as well. Oh yeah, we have leftover tour shorts. Tour, not shorts, shirts as well.
Can we all get into the shorts game?
Bum 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 bum. We wear.
I didn't know that's what you
shorts.
meant by when you were talking about short form content.
Short form content. Yeah, it's actual shorts.
Yeah.
They're Japanese sizes, so if you are interested in
tiny.
They're a full size smaller than American
They're a
sizes.
child size.
We're remaking those. We're making a U.S. run of those for the tour coming up. What did somebody say? Tour? That's right. A U.S. tour coming up, starting May 15th. It's exactly. It's because you're sassing me. That's why.
This is sexist.
East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, centered around Caterwall. So we're hitting D.C., New York, Providence, Philadelphia, Youngstown, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis for Caterwall, a bunch of Mountain West stuff with Elephant Rifle, Sioux City, Rapid City, all the cities, Casper, Missoula, Boise, Reno, Bend, Seattle, Portland, Oakland, Palmdale, which is between Bakersfield and Palm Desert, LA, and San Diego. So come see us on tour. We're cooking it, and we got a bunch of new stuff that on the merch table other than the new record, which should be enough, you goddamn animals. But yeah, would love to see anybody that is in any of those areas. Please come out and see us. We're playing some shows with Lung, some with Cosmic Kitten, some with Elephant Rifle, as mentioned. There's a bunch of press stuff I did that's coming out fairly soon, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in hearing more about any of those things. Caterwall, I mentioned Caterwall, 4-day music festival, Minneapolis, Minnesota, of which we're playing as well. Tickets available, so if you're remotely in that area, come out to Caterwall. It's a good time. Forrest is coming.
Yeah.
So
I'm not, because I got house sitting jobs to do.
Yeah, sorry. Well,
Gotta make that money. I got a cat sitting job that's like gonna take me most of the month, but I'm still gonna be here because it's a freaking cat and they got no internet there. So it's like,
so there you go.
Just feed it lots of lasagna and don't tell it when it's Monday.
it is a Garfield looking cat. Not gonna
don't-
lie, he's looking a
don't
lot
mention
like
when it's
Garfield these
Monday.
days.
Exactly.
So I mean,
The cat's like, hey, I noticed you don't have a. I
Doesn't
know.
like Mondays. It's better when the
I know-
answer isn't Monday.
Like I noticed you don't have a calendar in here. Can I ask what day it is? No, you can't, Garfield.
Don't ask questions you don't want answers to, kid. Anyway, so that's all my thing. I have 2 pretty big announcements. Neither one I can mention anything about right now. So I guess watch this space. Sure. But they're both good things. So there you go. Kristina, Audrey Plaza, what do you got?
yeah. So I've started streaming on the Greene site, aka Kick, and actually it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I haven't gotten any. I mean, I've gotten a few videos like saying like, "Hey, I got my ass ate just now," and I'm like, "Congratulations!" And it's just different over there. You get more bang for your buck when it's easier to monetize yourself on there. You just have to stream for 5 hours and subs are available. You get 4 out of $4.99 per sub, which is amazing considering Twitch takes half.
Can I tell you somewhere else subs were available? That dentist's office. Am I right?
Yeah.
Woo! Boom! Light them up.
Quite a lot of them too, by the way. Poor kid. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing some sexier stuff on the Kick site. Maybe some bikini and lingerie streams because why the fuck not? My mom gave my approval finally, so that's cool. So I'm gonna do so well over there. I know that.
Did she sign your permission slip?
Exactly. That's what she did. She's like, just don't let me know when you're doing it. I'm like, I'll be wearing a robe when I'm out in the living room or getting something to drink. What? What? Okay. But still streaming, of course, over here on the Purple site.
I didn't know these sites have these.
What is this? I thought it was like. I get that I haven't been on the show for a few weeks, but this is like a whole new lexicon. We're color coding things now.
When it comes to Twitch, you can't really promote Kick because it's like against the rules. So you have to call them by their color scheme. So Twitch is purple, Kick is green. And
what was the drug in RoboCop 2?
I don't see color.
Was it Nuke? Like you can just say like, oh, I'm streaming on Nuke. You know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense considering.
Yeah, it's Nukem or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like,
watching.
Hey, how am I gonna know what site you're on if I don't see color? You know.
Exactly. We're still deep into Dark Shadows. We are moving on to The Kids Are Possessed. Actor David Selby's on now. You might recognize him, Conan, as he was in the first season of Legion. He was like the head of D3 who wanted to kill David.
The older cat. Yeah, well, of course
a human face. That guy
wasn't he on like Falcon Crest and stuff. He was like a soap opera guy.
Yeah. He plays Quinn Collins in Dark Shadows now. All he's doing is this, and he's also possessing the kids to do murderous shit. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Still covering the news. Still talk about the whatever. Been doing a lot of cosplaying. I'm working on my Rio Vidal Green Witch cosplay. Actually, with hopefully my Twitch payout's pretty looking like it's going to be a good payout, so I can pay someone to make the Green Witch jacket for me, that leafy blazer. So that should be fun. I'm excited. He was
in Kojak too, by the way.
Yes.
Update.
His son is named Quentin after the character.
Kojak, everybody.
Yeah. But I streamed for 11 hours last night because we were watching 2 major General Hospital storylines, and we're going to do that again tonight while I put on makeup. We're having fun. We're having a lot of fun.
To mark the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birthday in 2009, Selby appeared on stage with Barack Obama and portrayed Lincoln. There you go.
Those sideburns, he's got them sideburns.
That's the role.
Look up Quentin Collins, Conan, and you'll see the sideburns that he was sporting because he is a Lincoln-looking guy.
Yeah. And you gotta say 4 score.
Professional Abraham Lincoln impersonator.
Yeah, so
I just noticed every Abraham Lincoln impersonator is like 4 score. Like they do this voice. So like this is my Gettysburg Address.
Okay, Grandma. But yeah,
I don't know what that accent turned into, but I was gonna.
My 2-week break from streaming is gone because I got everything I needed done and more, thank God. So it's been fun going back to streaming and stuff like that. I know a lot of people are like, I don't know, Kick. It's basically Twitch's alternative that's like for all the misfit people who got banned on Twitch, like Aiden Ross and all those weirdos. But so far, so good. It hasn't been the worst because it's still in beta testing.
Endorsement.
Yeah.
It's not the worst.
I mean, we'll wait till once I start doing those sexy streams, but I can handle it.
Yeah. All right.
I went to the Hamptons and I saw a seal and it was looking at me and I was looking at it and I got right up close.
Were you kissed by a rose or something like that? Like what happened?
No.
R.I.P. Val Kilmer, am I right?
He's never gonna survive. Seal, everybody. There's a lot of Seal discourse in the pre-Japan tour for some reason. I don't know why. Yes, Kolchak the Night Streamer.
Yeah.
Kolchak. Yeah. Autocorrect will not let you type Kolchak. Don't ask me how I know that. It's like you can't possibly be typing that. No, I am. I really am. No, you're not. No, yeah, Kodiak.
Stevie refrained from joining Kick, but may reconsider because of Kristina.
Hey, if you want to give me money, subscribe on Kick because I get more bang for my buck over there. I'm just saying.
Is there a way you could like work Kick into that? So you get more kick for the Huskow.
You get more kick for the you get more kick for the cash or more cash for the kick. I don't know.
There you go.
So,
Alliteration's good.
Like I'm this close to
workshop this material.
I'm like this close to reaching verification on Kick, and I've only done like 5 streams, and that's fucking insane considering how long I've been on Twitch. Like that's crazy. Yeah. Damn, it's stupid.
Congratulations / I'm sorry that happened to you. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it.
They only have one level of verification, right? Like, cause
but then
Twitch
you have another one that's like a partner, so you get even
this
more.
This is a great after part. Yeah, this is a great after.
Yeah.
Classic after material.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you more about it after Conan tells all his Japan stuff.
Right.
Konnichiwa.
Exactly.
All right. Well, is that enough? That's all the plugs, right?
Yeah, we went on.
Lauren's probably doing stuff too, right?
She's hanging out with Jeff Bridges right now. Of course, she's got shit to do.
She's got like
Merry-Go-Round magazine is where she usually writes her reviews, and then Lonely Goat Herd on
Instagram. She does productions of shows.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know what production she's doing right now. I think she's between them, but
Yeah.
Maybe not. I might be totally wrong about that.
I feel like it might have gotten lost in all the kick discourse. Anyway.
Kick, punch, 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 kick.
Kick, punch.
That's the one
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, exactly. BA, start. The Contra code.
But yeah.
Contra. Thank you. That's a video game.
Kristina, do you have final thoughts?
Yeah, so this movie is phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of the show. It's great. I love it. No notes. I mean, if you're someone who's like iffy about musicals, this is actually a musical to go. You know, if you're to see, you know, if you have if there's a local production, go see it. If you have the movie available to you, go see it. It's a classic. It has aged perfectly despite the ending. But I'm like no notes. It's pretty fantastic. It's a perfect adaptation of a really good musical.
Hell yeah. Conan?
Yeah, I mean, what I would add to that, I think it's also just an insane work of art. You know, it's crazy that it's a movie of the off-Broadway musical inspired by the 60s Roger Corman movie. And I think that it's the best version of all those things. And the performances are great. The cast is amazing. And I think it's a rare case for me that the music's so wonderfully intertwined with the narrative that you can't really imagine working it without it. And story-wise, you know, Faustian Bargain, slow cooker of human corruption. You know, we see that a lot more these days. Things like Breaking Bad, Sopranos, stuff like that. But I think what really works is how innocent both Seymour and Audrey's portrayals are. Because despite all the insanity and the escalating craziness, you really want to see them have a happy ending, you know. And I think none of it works without the practical effects and the great direction by Frank Oz, and it adds up to a brilliant black comedy. And a modern remake with CGI would just not work, and I would despise it.
Yeah, 100%.
The original ending is absolutely insane and worth checking out. I linked to it, I think, on my Letterboxd review. It's kind of an all-time bummer ending, but you basically get to see Frank Oz make a 5-minute long Godzilla movie, and it's totally worth watching. And I think it actually is a better ending for the movie. And truly an all-timer for putting it all on the table and then leaving it on the cutting room floor. But very gratifying, creative film, and there's nothing quite like it, and I like it quite a bit.
I don't know how long the 1986 one took, like the one we're talking about, took to shoot, but the 1961, $35,000 altogether for the entire thing, shot in 2 days and 1 night.
Wow,
the whole thing.
That's Roger Corman for you.
Yeah, and it was the story kind of. I mean, no, I like workers' rights, so I don't know if I necessarily love the story, but the residuals, you were about to have to pay residuals to every actor pretty much 2 days after they started filming. So part of the squeeze was like, they're like, we're doing this for $30,000,
get
and
it
this
done
is like,
so we don't have to do
yeah.
it. Wow.
But I mean, you know, they didn't have they were doing it on stage sets they had already used, and they were gonna, you know, the next Roger Corman movies obviously all had, you know, it was different. So it's like,
well, and Corman, you know, he gave so many great directors their start. You know, Dante, Spielberg. You know, like so many people worked for Roger, and that
it's pretty funny.
Shop.
It's also funny that it's gotten like the most play because Jack Nicholson, like a very, very young, you know, pre like Easy Rider, pre all that stuff. Jack Nicholson's in it, but for like a scene though, and like everyone else is in it is just kind of the Roger Corman stock actors, pretty much. You know, like just actors he's used on pretty much everything else, which Jack Nicholson was too. But like he got his start as like a Roger Corman kind of stock guy that, you know, because he just kept a lot of guys that like had funny looks, so you could just throw on there and like barely script everything, and like, and he's such a good actor. But like, so all the stuff, or a lot of it anyway, is like a picture of Jack Nicholson holding a plant, and it's like that never happens in the movie, and he's only in it for one scene. But you know,
he has a face
known as like Jack Nicholson's Little Shop of Horrors.
Exactly. So yeah, join us in the after party to hear about all my Japanese tour stories and whatever the hell kick
Conan
is, apparently.
in Japan.
And we'll also talk about the movies we got coming up, because we got a bunch of cool ones coming up for episodes, including we are going to cover Sinners. Yes, that is a late edition. So exciting stuff.
You know, everyone's talking about Sinners, but no one's talking about Savior.